And we're back with another Bond review, and today we're going to talk about Diamonds Are Forever, which I thought this was fun. I mean, yeah, I know this one sort of gets a bad rap amongst fans. I do read other reviews out there, whether good or bad, just to see what people have to say. I think some of the things that have been said about this movie is that it's Connery's worst Bond movie, or it doesn't take itself as serious compared to prior Bond films like, i.e. From Russia with Love, which is more of a pure spy movie, more realistic, more dark, what have you. Even I would say I prefer Goldfinger over this movie. I even prefer the next one, Live and Let Die, which was Roger Moore's debut. Also, too, I think some of the things that have also been said about this movie, that at points it kind of goes into camp territory and comedy, because you have some bits of comedy in the movie, some silliness. But again, I thought there was some fun still to be had because, Sean Connery looks like he's having fun back in the role, which I know he has paid a lot of money to come back. A 1.25 million salary, which even today, that's still a good amount of money. And I know he turned around and gave it to the Scottish International Education Trust, and I'll read a little bit more about that. But Sean Connery again looks like he's having fun. He has some good bits of action sprinkled throughout the movie. You got, for example, this one fight on an elevator where Bond gets into a fist fight. You have some stuff in the desert where Bond breaks out of this facility in a moon buggy. You have some stuff in Las Vegas where there's a car chase and Bond is driving on two wheels. So some good bits of action. But the story here, the plot, you have in the beginning Bond, he's looking for Blofeld. And here you have a different Blofeld. Now, previously it was played by Telly Savalas. Now, in my previous review, I may have mentioned that, but I don't think I shared any thoughts on Telly Savalas. I thought he was a decent Blofeld. I mean, I much prefer Donald Pleasance, but this guy, he was okay, this actor here. Which in the beginning, like I said, Bond is looking for Blofeld, trying to find his whereabouts. So he's interrogating different people around the globe. I mean, the film opens up with the guy being thrown through this window. And again, he's trying to find, I don't know, Blofeld. Long story short, you have these mines in South Africa where diamonds are being smuggled out. So Bond has to go in and investigate. And meanwhile, you have these two sort of offbeat assassins that are in the middle of this operation where again they're smuggling diamonds out of these mines. So Bond is trying to figure out who's behind this, and his investigation takes him to Las Vegas, where he suspects a casino owner is behind this whole thing, but it's actually Blofeld. So Bond has to stop Blofeld and stop his operation. So that's kind of the story here. Now, as far as a little bit of info on the movie, after Lazenby left, the producers, they tested other actors. I know one guy they had next to line, if Sean Connery didn't come back, this actor John Gavin, because I watched a documentary on the movie. I don't know much about this actor John Gavin, but he was very close. He was next in line if Sean Connery didn't come back. But United Artists wanted Sean Connery back, paying a then record $1.25 million for his return. And the producers were inspired by Goldfinger, so they brought back Guy Hamilton to direct and Shirley Bassey to perform the theme. And also in this movie you would have certain locations like Las Vegas and California, so you would see Bond is in those type of locations. And the film was a commercial success, but and it did get good reviews, but retrospectively was met with criticism for, again, sort of its campy tones at times and the humor. But And a little bit more on that. Also, they contemplated replacing Bond with other actors around this time, such as Clint Eastwood, Adam West, and Burt Reynolds. Yeah, but they all stated that Bond should not be played by an American actor. So, which they're right, and it all worked out. But it's just funny to me how they considered Clint Eastwood, Adam West, and Burt Reynolds. Now, like I said, John Gavin was up for that, but as far as a little bit more on Connery's fee, Connery demanded the fee, and to entice the actor to play Bond once more, the studios offered 2 back-to-back films of his choice. After both sides agreed to the deal, Connery used the fee to establish the Scottish International Education Trust, where basically Scottish artists could apply for funding without having to leave their country to pursue careers. Since John Gavin was no longer in running for the role, his contract was paid in full. The first film made under Connery's deal was The Offense, directed by Sidney Lumet, and the second was to be an adaptation of Macbeth by William Shakespeare, using only Scottish actors, in which Connery himself would play the title role. Looking at the note there. But it was abandoned because Roman Polanski's Macbeth was already in production. So there's a little bit of casting information, a little bit of background. Now, as far as the cast, looking at the cast here, again, Sean Connery looks like he's having fun here. I mean, at this point, Sean Connery, you could definitely see in the movie he's aged a little bit. He's probably around 40, 41. But like I said, Sean Connery looks like he's having fun throughout the movie. Like, he, not playing Bond in, 4 years? Because he retired during the filming of You Only Live Twice. Or maybe it was the money that made him, look like he was having fun. But still, I mean, Sean Connery was good here. It's nice to see him back in the role. And again, he was... it seemed that, that he was having fun. You also have the Bond girl, if you will, Tiffany Case, played by Jill St. John. And Jill St. John, I thought, she was pretty to look at, but I don't know if she was as memorable compared to, let's say a Honey Rider or a Pussy Galore, or even Teresa, the Bond girl that came before, and George Lazenby's wife. But again, Jill St. John, she's not bad to look at. But again, I don't know if she's as memorable. Like, I prefer other Bond girls. Again, like Honey Rider, Pussy Galore, Teresa. But, she's okay. And like I said, here you have Blofeld played by a different actor, Charles Gray. And there's some fun stuff in the beginning where they're sort of creating these lookalikes of Blofeld. And he was okay. I mean, even I would say I much prefer Telly Savalas over this guy, but again, he was fine. You also have some of the characters in the film. You have this entrepreneur type, sort of loosely based on Howard Hughes. This Willard White character that Bond's investigating. And the guy that plays his character, Jimmy Dean. Now, if that name sounds familiar, Jimmy Dean, this is a guy that would establish Jimmy Dean breakfast. So yeah, if you've seen that around at your grocery store, like Jimmy Dean sausage, Jimmy Dean, bacon, Jimmy Dean sandwiches, breakfast sandwiches, yeah, this is the guy, Jimmy Dean, the real Jimmy Dean. But yeah, Jimmy Dean plays this character, this entrepreneur type of character. And again, he was inspired by Howard Hughes. He's in the film. You also have, again, these two sort of offbeat assassins that are working for Blofeld as sort of henchmen, Blofeld's henchmen. And in the film, they kind of alluded to these characters being gay. I mean, you have this one scene where they're walking off, and then throughout the film, you would see their characters. They would kill a couple of people. this one guy, they put a scorpion down his shirt, stuff like that. So like I said, throughout the film, you kind of see him here and there. And, like I mentioned, the film kind of alludes to these two characters being a couple, because you have one scene where they're walking off, holding hands. You have another scene where one of the guys, and these characters are Mr. Wynn and Mr. Kidd, and I forgot which character, but these two characters were on a plane, and one of them sees a lady, and they said something like, this one character complimented the lady, like, oh, she's pretty to look at, and the other guy gives him a look. And so again, the film kind of alludes to these characters being gay, but I don't know if they really meant a whole lot to the film. It just kind of felt like these characters were just kind of thrown in there. Like, I don't know if you really... I mean, they're fine for what they had to do. And what's funny is these two characters, Bruce Glover, the actors of Bruce Glover and Putter Smith, Bruce Glover is the father of Crispin Glover. So you got Crispin Glover's father in the movie, and Jimmy Dean. But, yeah, it's just funny. But, like I said, these two characters, they're fine for what they had to do, but I don't know if they meant a whole lot to the plot, to the story. I don't know if we really needed these characters, because you had Blofeld, you had, the Tiffany character, but they're okay. Felix Slider comes back, of course, a different actor. You have Q here, and you have these other two characters in the movie, Bambi and Thumper, which is a fun scene where they're beating the crap out of Bond, and they're very pretty to look at. I will say that. I think one of them, I could be wrong. I forgot who, if it was Bambi or Thumper. I think one of them was like an Olympic gymnast or something, because I was watching the documentary on the movie. But I know those two characters are definitely things that people remember about this movie. Bambi and Thumper, and the scene where they're beating the crap out of Bond. So they're, some cool characters. But overall, I thought the cast was fine. Again, Sean Connery looks like he's having fun. Joe St. John, again, she's okay, but I don't know if she's as memorable compared to, prior Bond girls. The story's fine. Some good action. I thought there was some good action throughout the movie. Again, you have a little bit of fun action in the beginning. You have this one fun fight scene on an elevator where Bond is in a fist fight with this guy, because, again, he's going undercover as a diamond smuggler to investigate this operation where diamonds are being smuggled out. So he beats up this one guy in the elevator. And then a little bit later on, where he's in this facility and he breaks out in a moon buggy. So you have like a moon buggy going through the desert. And I know some of that stuff, you could look at, and some people would scoff at some of those scenes, but I thought they were fun. I mean, yeah, it's a little bit silly, but I didn't mind it. And then later on, like I said, you would have Bond in Las Vegas, where you have a cool car chase, and then Bond goes down the alleyway, and he's on two wheels. Now, the third act, where you have it on an oil rig, I don't know, I thought it was okay. I mean, I thought some of the earlier bits of action, to me, were more fun, but it was okay. Like I said, in this film, you'd have, different locations like Las Vegas and California. You see Bond in the desert. And I know that's one thing that people, as far as like critiques about the movie, that, they Americanized Bond in this movie. And that's one thing that I've read, but it didn't bother me. Seeing Bond in Las Vegas to me was interesting. I thought it was an interesting environment to see Bond in, Las Vegas in that type of setting. So again, it didn't bother me. And you got a couple of cool gadgets in the movie. I mean, you have the pocket snap trap. You have, I'm just kind of going through here some of the gadgets. I mean, the fake fingerprint, uh, where pretty much Bond uses a fake fingerprint that clings to his thumb to trick Tiffany Case because uh, Tiffany Case is believing that, he's this diamond smuggler. You have another scene where Q is using a slot machine ring to ensure the jackpot on the slots every time. So Q cheated. But that was fun. And then you have this one scene where Bond is grappling to get into the suite of this Willard White character. So you have these grappling braces, kind of rappel type of equipment, which I thought was cool. So some cool, gadgets like that. Now, I'm trying to think what else to mention here because, I mean, I kind of covered, you know, a good amount of stuff here. But at the end of the day, I thought this was a fun, decent Bond movie. I know, kind of like I said, it gets a little bit of a bad rap because, at points in the film, it kind of gets a little bit silly or, camp. It kind of goes into that camp, territory, if you will. It doesn't take itself as serious. And the same director of Goldfinger, and like I said, I much prefer that, and I much prefer even if I even get the word out right, that'd be nice. Live and Let Die, Roger Moore. I much prefer that. But I don't know. To me, I didn't hate this movie. I thought again it was a fun, decent Bond movie. And yes, while again it dives into some of the, if you want to say, silly territory, and it does have some comedic moments. Yeah, I mean I mean, and kind of going back on the cast real quick, again, Jill St. John, I thought she was okay. And I don't know if you really needed the assassin characters. Uh, I don't know if they really meant a whole lot to the plot. Blofeld here, it was pretty neat to see Blofeld create a double of himself. That was fun stuff. Even though I much prefer other Blofelds like Donald Pleasance and Telly Savalas. The third act, I don't know if I would say it was great. When it comes to the action, I felt that there were the action scenes from earlier in the film I thought were a little bit better than the climax. But again, overall, at the end of the day, again, while I have a couple of nitpicks with the movie, I thought this was a decent, fun Bond movie. And yes, while I prefer other Bond movies more, but to say it's one of one of the worst or what have you, I wouldn't say that. But that's just my opinion, my take on the movie. But that's it for now. Thank you for watching my review of Diamonds Are Forever, and stay tuned because next we're going to talk about Live and Let Die, Roger Moore's debut, which again I liked a lot. So stay tuned for that, and have a good one.